Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from TheChowTimePod. The making of passport bros. Ooh, this one's going to be a good one, so let's get to it right away. Please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
So men are grabbing their passports. Those who have options, those who have the means and the resources to explore their options are not afraid to do so. And I know there has been a lot of fear mongering, a lot of shaming, a lot of insults, and just a whole lot of criticism.
You are the problem, you are toxic, and most likely you are a predator.
There's this new subgroup of guys that I'm just learning about called passport bros. Like, y'all heard about the passport bros?
Yeah. It's a cop-out by saying black women ain't good enough for you, so I'll date a white woman. You feel me? That's just low self-esteem.
See, they always want to... Yes, it's black gentlemen. They are majority of what represents passport bros, but it affects other men too. This is the part where I think these people don't seem to talk about it. Hey, other races of men are also leaving. It's not just the black women in the black community. It's most women in the Western countries in the United States that most men have an issue with. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, we all have some kind of issue with what's going on here. It's not just that. And it's crazy that this, like, the people that always speak opposite of us, they don't ever see that part of it. Why don't they ever see it's other races? It's not just black men.
Yeah.
And dudes be claiming that they nerds, but they fail to leave out that they dirty and broke. Like the passport bros that's like leftover men. You know what I'm saying? They like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause the real players done got all, they don't pick from the good women here.
They've faced a lot of scrutiny, but nevertheless, it's not going anywhere.
It's not.
As the world becomes more integrated, as the economy changes, it's just not really going, I don't really see it ending anytime soon. But, you know, in my opinion, instead of trying to shame men for exploring their options, I think it's in our best interest as women, especially, to figure out what could be inspiring these men to leave their country, to leave an area that they're comfortable in, to leave a community that
They never talk about what she is just talking about. Men that are willing to leave their communities, willing to leave their families or whatever connections they have here to go live abroad and find love. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. Most people aren't willing to live in another country. Most people aren't willing to move. Most people stay in their own city for most of their life, or if anything, all of their lives. So she's right. Think about what's making these guys almost have to travel and want to travel, even though it might not even be part of what they want to do in life.
they are familiar with, to literally spend sometimes thousands of dollars to go into a foreign country where they are faced with another language, where they are faced with different cultural norms, where they are faced with different social barriers. What would cause them to go and inconvenience themselves just to try to find love?
Oh man, Chaz, you're fucking awesome. I love her. I love her channel. Like, right. The amount of work, effort, dedication to be a passport bro is beyond most people's capabilities that want to do things, right? So why are we willing to do so much, spend so much money, spend so much time, just to leave here and find what we're looking for? Why can't we find it here? That's the questions. Ches, keep asking him. You're rocking. You're rocking with me. You're rocking with me.
Why can't they, within the convenience of their own backyard, find women that they think are wifey material, that they believe are suitable partners? And so that is what I think is worth investigating. Recently, content creator Dennis Sperling released his series Co-Parenting with the Sperlings, where he basically focuses on his experience with his now ex-wife and the challenges that they face trying to co-parent their kids. And while the focus on that series really is co-parenting, I think there's a lot we can glean from that series in learning why there are some men out there who decide to grab their passports. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that series, please be sure to do so, but you can check it out in this channel.
Check it out.
I think they're pretty much all there for you to binge watch if you want. If you want to check out my first review of Co-Parenting with the Sperlings, be sure to check out the link in my description box. But also, spoiler alert, if you have not watched the series, we'll be highlighting key moments in the series. I encourage you to go watch it and then come back here to see my review. And if you don't mind a little bit of spoilers, keep on watching and we're going to get into it.
I'll watch.
I wanted to develop a foundation to break stereotypes, close gaps, build literacy, to give students, even upcoming educators, opportunities to know that they can do it, and with hope all things are possible. Riz and I are meeting today to discuss the budget. She's always great with, we ping pong ideas off each other, so I know at the end of the day we'll have a big plan, we'll know how many lives we'll affect and how we're going to implement this big project. Riz, I can't wait to implement all these ideas we have, but I'll tell you no lie, I am concerned about funding. We've talked about all of the groups that we want to meet up with and help out, but I'm in a jam right now. I don't know how we're gonna get the funding. Riz is another one of those friends that always gives me great advice. When I doubt myself, when I have these big visions, she reminds me of times that I've done things similar, and she just lets me know that I can handle it. And with her help, I know that I can truly do it.
Steph, don't worry about it. We've got this. I mean, we can do fundraising. We can contact, we need to get sponsors, we need to get the word out, we need media, we need marketing so that we can make this happen. It is so important, the work that we're trying to do.
And I know once we get it out there, I can't imagine how powerful it'll be, because we have, I didn't tell you, there is this young lady after we leave here. I have a meeting, and it's one of the young ladies that I want to be a part of our program. When you meet her, she doesn't know how beautiful she is on the inside and her strengths and things like that. So I'm with it. You're right. Like we did last time, we collected. Maybe we can get some of those community groups to pitch in. And now that Riz and I have met, she has reminded me that we are going to meet this goal. We have a plan. We've mapped it all out.
All we have to do is just keep contacting, our friends and reaching out so that we can get the grant that we need. And, the money will flood in. We just have to explain what we're doing. I mean, you're wonderful, you're amazing. This foundation is awesome. It's really going to help.
Friend, you said the money's gonna flood in?
It's going to rain.
I receive it. So we're gonna work on it. I cannot wait. We can do it.
We can do it.
We did it before.
We have, and we'll do it again.
You're right.
So in this particular snippet of the episode, you see the parents, the ex of, content creator Dennis Sperling, and she's essentially just talking about the different projects that she has been working on and her passion. And overall, it sounds like she's doing some great work for the community. You can tell she's very passionate about helping people. She's very passionate about helping youth, especially helping women. And those are all good things. But I also want you to pay attention to how those goals and those passions sometimes in a marriage can start to create tension. We have two incredibly ambitious and driven people. Again, those don't have to be bad things. Those can actually be really powerful and useful qualities when things are imbalanced. But what can happen is if both individuals are used to calling the shots or making hard decisions at their job. For example, you have Dennis Sperling, right, who was a very successful lawyer. And then you have the missus, right, who in her own right is, sounds like she is, creating foundations. She is trying to change communities. She's making hard decisions, making money. Again, when those people are in their jobs, making those hard decisions, being the lead, calling the shots, when these two people get together in home life, both people can be leading, calling the shots. Somebody has to be leading and somebody has to be following. It's not to say that they
100%. Can't have two captains. The crew is going to get confused when there's two captains, and the crew would be your family.
can't work together. But what's that old saying? There can't be two cooks in the kitchen. And so a challenge that you can find in these relationships where both people are highly successful and both people are, really killing it in their career is learning when to turn the ambition off. And just because you're a boss babe or a boss lady or a boss chick or whatever, at your job, when you come home, when you're in a relationship with a strong man, if there is not an understanding of how to still support one another, and ultimately, if there's not an understanding that you can't always be calling the shots at home, it can be hard to take off that boss hat and know when to now be a wife. And I'm speaking again more from the female point of view because obviously I'm a woman. But I'm not saying that women can't have great careers. I'm just saying that if there is not an understanding that there is a way that you act at your job, but you can't necessarily act that way at home, it can start to create problems if it goes unchecked. And so that is something that stood out to me just in this quick snippet. Again, she's not doing anything wrong. I'm not saying that she should feel bad. Actually, it sounds like she's doing great things for the community, but I just understand that if there's not an understanding of, okay, I'm a boss maybe over here, I'm making the hard decisions over here, but now when I'm in a household, I get to handle these relationships differently. Like if there's not that clear distinction, I could see how things could easily get a little bit misconstrued. Let's continue.
It's not an easy thing for men or women to all of a sudden change from their workplace back to home life. That's why most men are pretty much the same throughout most of their life, even in their family life. But for women, it's tough. I know it's tough because I've had friends that have to do it, and they said it was very hard for them to be, they're actually big in sales. She makes quite a bit of money in sales, and she always tells me like she has to come home and like just give up all that, and she's happy to because she doesn't want to deal with all that shit anymore after she gets home. She'd rather just relax and have her husband take the mantle and just guide everything else. She'll do what she needs to do. So it is tough for a lot of women, and even men it's tough, but men have the ability to not have to do that, since we can just stay stoic and stay as leaders throughout the whole relationship and our workship.
Hey, Les. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Girl, you look good. I like your little rumpa.
Thank you.
Working, you gonna have to let me wear it.
I'm gonna have to.
It was great to visit Leslie at home. We caught up. She informed me that she was trying to get certifications and jobs. What's been going on with you?
I've been in school. I'm trying to get my forklift license. I've been working, trying to be a manager at McDonald's, because, by my assault cases and stuff.
I do. I heard
me,
it.
by me just working.
She was still having slight struggles because of her record and her previous history. Baby, let me tell you, about a year ago, I remember you said it was a struggle when we were first setting up the foundation. I want you to come back. Come on, Leslie. You have a plan. I'm hearing about the forklift, the certifications. I'm proud of you. I need you. Because your testimony, let me tell you, all the stuff that you're telling me, lady, you could help these other little babies that are coming in.
I can.
Leslie, I need you. I have another friend on board, and she and I were trying to fundraise to raise some money for these babies. It's so many young ladies, they're looking for a way out, or they're looking for a way up. But I want to tell them, like, what you're doing. You're talking about managerial positions and doing you.
I gotta try to make it, because if I don't make it, I'm gonna feed my baby.
What I admired most about Leslie was she told me her kids push her. Her ambition was still there. Nothing was going to stop her from moving forward. And I just admire her for that. And you're right. And who gonna model for our sons? And who gonna let them know?
That be better than what I do.
Exactly. We're the mother of sons. And you know what? We have to be their queens. Leslie also informed me about her baby and some issues with her boyfriend. And I get it. Trust me, I do. So what's going on with the family? I know you had you and
me and babe, we kind of on the skeptical part, We've been together on and off 3 years. I've been working, he's been working, but he's been also messing around and creeping. And so, a baby popped up out of nowhere. So now, he want me to cope and deal with it, but
again, this is a boy.
Oh man. Women need to really pick better men. She said that she was off and on for 3 years with this gentleman, and then a baby came out of nowhere. It's just, I understand. This is the part where it really sucks, because I have empathy. I have empathy for this lady. I have empathy for single mothers. Yes, they made bad choices. Yes, they've done these things, but sometimes they don't know they made these bad choices, right? They don't know that they fucked up. They don't know until later in life. That's the bad part about some of these things. Like even us when we were blue pilled, all of us blue pilled, we didn't know what the fuck was going on. We just knew shit was shitty. And then we realized, fuck, we've been fucking up this whole time. We need to adjust. We need to fix ourselves. And it sucks that men are able to do this so easily, but women, once they hit certain ages, have kids, it becomes so difficult for them, especially how us in the manosphere and in the red pill view these type of women.
Friend, and who she is committed to is her kids. So maybe if she even has to take a step back, or if maybe they can talk and he can align himself with her, but I wanted her to focus on her goals and her ambition.
Listen, that's just a situation. I know that it hurts, but what kind of father is he to your sons, and do you think that you could see ourselves making it through? So it's all about you, Les, and those two babies, and anybody who can't get in or fit in needs to get.
See, this is not pertaining to this, but like some of the advice they give is so off. Like, if you have to do you, it's all about you, and then the kids. No, it's about the kids first. We really need to put the kids ahead of us, men and women. Stop thinking of yourself first before you think of your kids, especially if they're born already.
Get out. That's why I steady been doing and been focusing on me and been doing me, and whatever God leave for me in the way. Those two boys will have your back. Okay.
And she seemed to understand. It didn't come across easy, but I know that Leslie can do it. I know.
Good seeing you. Oh, girl, you keep up the good work.
You need a recommendation, referral, anything.
Okay.
You call me. I am so happy I met with Leslie. Leslie, she told me I can call her at any time. She wants to come and give her testimony to others interested in participating. She wants to speak, and that's not the Leslie I knew. So I look forward to involving Leslie. I know she's going to stay on the right path, and I definitely won't let it be this long before I see her again.
Later on in the episode, the ex, she ends up meeting with one of her clients, and they basically are discussing her, plan moving forward. And there are a couple of things that stood out to me as interesting. And so one comment she made regarding her son, she says, these boys are going to always have your back. And she says, we got to be these girls' queens. We got to be these boys' queens. Again, I think I understand the context, right, of her wanting to make sure that as women that they are leaving positive examples for their sons. I can totally understand that. But again, here's where some challenges can arise if things are not within balance. Ultimately, Black American culture right now, there's a culture of son husbands because there has
Ches is just hitting all of the hot takes. Shout outs to her.
There's been this imbalance of feminine input, and there's been this imbalance of single mother raised homes, but there hasn't been men around. And it's very natural for women in some capacity to look for male leadership, to look for male presence. It's super common, even if a woman isn't fully aware of it, unless she is like a raging, lesbian feminist. Most women want some form of male presence. And so what happens is, over the course of life, as women age, as they feel more vulnerable or different things, it can be really natural for those women to lean on their sons for that male presence if they don't have a man in their life. And and sometimes these things are even intentional. It's just the natural imbalance that can happen when there is not a man to have interference, and basically there's not a husband around to basically fulfill those other needs that a grown woman has.
She hit it on the nail. She hit it on the nail. She hit the nail on the head when she spoke about she hit it. She isn't wrong. Like this, thinking that her sons are always gonna be there for her isn't going to be the case for most women. If they struggle throughout life and their sons see what's going on, a lot of sons end up resenting their mothers, we see this happen quite often nowadays, that they don't even want to speak with their mothers anymore because their mothers was a certain way. So thinking that, oh, just because I have a son, they're always going to be with me. That's not how kids work. Hey, I could be the best parent in the world, and something happens to where my son or daughter never want to speak to me again. That kind of shit happens.
So those little comments right there were, for me, were so interesting because I thought, okay, I definitely agree that mothers definitely want to do the best that they can, model a good and productive life for their sons. If the expectation in doing so is that they're always going to have my back, that in the long term, that potentially could put unnecessary pressure on that boy.
Yes, it
who
does.
becomes a man to always have to be there for that woman. Because in reality, you raise kids, but hopefully one day they grow up and they go on their lives. They go on with their lives and they create their own families and they find their own wife or their own husband, and they,
At least that's what you hope for them. You don't hope for them to be alone and single and to take care of you for the rest of your life. If parents are thinking that way, you are greedy ass fucking parents. Get the fuck out of this. Like you want better for your kids.
Wash, rinse, repeat. That is a natural thing. It is natural and healthy for a son who maybe at one point looked to his mother for affection to eventually get to the point where he's old enough and starts to maybe look to a girlfriend and then eventually a wife. And so if the expectation is that at any and every stage of life, these boys are always going to be there for the mother, that could potentially be really unhealthy and toxic if there are not strong boundaries there. It is common for that to happen if there are not clearly defined boundaries established, especially as that boy turns into a man and starts to establish his own life. It's quite easy for this imbalance to happen when there aren't men there to cause interference, when there isn't really male input at all into this whole process of raising kids. And then ultimately when the woman doesn't have her own healthy relationship, a man that she herself is submitting to, that can help keep things in order. So again, I think what she is doing is really beautiful. Her trying to help women who are down on their luck or who, have gone through some things that are trying to get in their feet. Like, I think it's beautiful, and you need to have those kinds of resources. But I also see that, again, without the presence of healthy, strong male leadership, how those things can ultimately go awry, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how far down a woman has fallen. We really aren't meant to do life alone. We really are not.
No, we're not.
This is not good for man to be alone, but I think it also applies to women. I think the way women are created is we benefit when we have healthy male input. So again, these are just really short, small snippets, but already we are seeing different ideas, different mentalities, and ultimately different decisions made that could potentially undermine the success of a relationship and might encourage men to go abroad. Notice the different conversations that we've had. Notice the different things that these lovely ladies have said, talking about ambition, talking about drive, talking about being strong, talking about persevering. Again, these are all qualities that one needs to have to survive in a very struggle situation. But now when it comes to getting together with a man, and especially if you were getting together with a strong man, with a more traditionally minded man, as is the case with Mr. Dennis Sperling, you can see how those qualities could potentially be an issue if it causes you to basically put on the boss lady hat at home. And these are common complaints that men have when it comes to who they encounter in the West and the women that they encounter in America. It's not that there aren't beautiful women out there. It's not that there's not attractive women. It's not that they're not even women. It's not that there aren't even women that they can't maybe have a conversation with. It just comes down to core values, ideas, and ultimately whether or not this woman is going to be willing to be a wife in a way that a man.
Ooh, right? We just want a wife. I want a person that wants to be a wife and wants to be a mother. Just that basis alone is so hard to find in the United States. Like, we can't even get the two basics of wanting to be a wife, wanting to be a mother. Just those two things. The looks and everything else kind of just like, for me, like you could be a 5 or a 4 and everything else. But if you have those two things, I would probably still want to be with you, but I just can't find those two things.
feels is actually going to be helpful to him and vice versa, or whether or not it feels like they're ultimately going to be going home to somebody that they feel like they need to compete with. And that a lot of times ends up causing men to be like, you know what, I'd rather just leave and go to an area that's a lot more traditional, where I already know I'm getting a woman who knows how to support, who doesn't see submission as a fear tactic, and we can get along a lot more easier. And that's what some guys are doing. So that's what I have for today. I definitely gonna have some more content for you guys, but let me know what you guys think up to this point.
Whew. Shout outs to Shiz. This was a really good topic. You know, how she went in from passport bros to the relationship dynamics between husbands and wives, or just, you know, fathers and mothers, and how that dynamic really affects men going forward, especially men that are strong, that want to be strong, that want to do these things. We can't find what we're looking for here. Please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.